Hello. Once again, we're going to look at something on subtraction in our last class. We look at some ways of handling subtraction of whole numbers without having difficulties. So we're trying to see how we can, teach our kids or children how to handle problems on subtraction of numbers. So in our last class, we look at some tricks on how to handle the subtractions of whole numbers. So in this class, we're going to look at how to handle subtraction of number without borrowing. But before then, we will take a look at what we did in the previous class before looking into this one extensively. So in our last class, I said, assuming we're having maybe 421 minus 279, and we're asked to do these subtractions. Now the first thing you need to know is that the one up here is called our minor. So the number you are being subtracted from is called your minor, and the one that is subtracted is called the subtrahend. So you must know that. Then the next thing, you must arrange them so that unit to unit, tens to tens, and 100 to 100. Okay, thereafter, you start your operation from the unit digit. So if you look at the unit digit of the minor, if it is usually less than the subtrahend, the unit digit of the subtrahend, what you need to do, you need to borrow from the next neighbor, which is now 2. So if you borrow from 2 here, you reduce this one by 1, you look for the predecessor of 2, and you write 1 here. Okay, then the one you borrow does not mean 1, it means 10, because we are placing in base 10. So you come down here and put it under here, you say 10, and you put a minus. In this case, you cannot do your normal operation. You can now say that this first unit of your subtrahend minus the first unit of your minor. Okay, so 9 take away 1, we know it's 8. So what you usually need to do here, you put 8 here and subtract. 10 take away 8, your answer will be 2. Okay, here 1 take away 7 is not possible. You have to borrow from the next neighbor, which is 4, and you have to reduce 4 by 1, and it becomes 3. That one you borrow is 10. That is means, so you write it here, write a minus. So now you say 7 take away 1 will give you 6. So here we say 6 take away 10 take away 6, and that will give us what? 4. So this 4 here, quickly you put it under the tens digit. So here 3 take away 2, and that will give us 1. That was what we did in our previous class. Now today we're going to look at subtraction of numbers. You want to make children have interest in maths. Then what we're going to look at here, we're going to look at successor of numbers. Now what do you mean by successor of numbers? A successor of number, they are whole numbers that come after a particular number. A whole number that come after a particular number. So we can say number after a particular number. Okay, that is the meaning of successor. Then predecessors of number. These are whole numbers that come before a whole number. Okay, like for instance, I put something here. We have the predecessor, we have numbers, we have successor. Now you ask yourself, this predecessor say number before. Which whole number come before 10? Is 9. So the predecessor of 10 is what? Is 9. Now which number will now succeed 10? Is what? Which number? A whole number that come after 10 is 11. That is just the meaning of successor or predecessors of number. Number before, that is predecessor, and number after. Okay, if you look at 12 here, the predecessor of 12 is 11, and this successor is 13. If you look at 44, the predecessor will be 43 and the successor will be what? 45. Then 521, the predecessor of 521 is 520 and the successor will be what? 522. For the successor of a number, what you need to do is just add 1 to the number to give you. But for the predecessor, you subtract 1 from the given number. That's how you obtain a successor and predecessor of a number. Add 1 to the number to give you the successor, subtract 1 from the number to give you the what? The predecessor. Okay, now another thing you should know at this point is that for every even number, the successor and the predecessor must give you what? Must give you odd number. So look at 10 is even number because 2 can divide it, so or it end with 0. So the successor, if you look at the successor, is 11, which is odd number, and the predecessor is what? Is 9, which is also odd number. Now we want to do some operation here. That is why I came with this idea. Assuming you want to handle kids or you want to teach your own children subtraction of number, so that they will have interest in it. What do you do? First thing here, I could say natural numbers. Now natural number, these are also known as the counting numbers. So our counting numbers start from 1, 2, 3 till infinity. Those are counting numbers. Then here there are some steps involved in subtraction of what? Numbers. So one thing you have to do in subtraction of number, you must identify your what? Your minus and your subtractand. Like I've explained. Then 2, you identify the successor of the subtractand. And 3, count how many numbers from the successor of the subtractand until you get to the what? To the minus. So the result of step 3 is the difference. So I listed some steps here. Step 1 is identify the minus and the subtractand. 2, identify the successor of the subtractand. So for instance, I will start with some few examples here. Assuming we have this in, let's say 18, take away 7. Okay, we want to see the answer. Our first step here say that you want to teach your kids, you want to handle kids. We have to identify the minus and the subtractand. Our minus is this. Our minus is what? Is this 18. So the number that you have, this is a minus, and this is our what? Our subtractand. This is our subtractand. Okay? And the first step, identify the minus and the subtractand. 2, identify the successor of the subtractand. Now this our subtractand is 7. So we say we should identify the successor. Which number will succeed 7? So successor of 7 is what? Is 8. So that's what you do. So you identify the successor of what? Of the minus. Identify the successor is 8. Then, and I said, count how many numbers from the successor of the subtractand until you get to the what? To the minus. So we're going to count here from 8 to 18. How many numbers are we going to get here? So after 8, we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and what? 18. So when we get to that, you see, count how many numbers from this, the successor of the subtractand, till you get to the what? To the minus. So we have counted from the successor of 7 is 8. So here, what you need to do, you count from 8 till you get to 18. So now what you need to do, you want to get your answer. Now you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and what? 11. So it means our answer is what? 11. So this number that fall under this place is your answer. So here now we can say our answer is what? 11. Okay, that is one way we can do it. But assuming we want to do it in form of the predecessor, in form of what? the predecessor. So if we want to use the predecessor to get our answer, what we usually do here, we say we'll hold these ones. We hold our mined. Look at our mined here. Our mined is what? Is 18. So let's look at the predecessor of the mined. Predecessor of 18. Which number come before 18? And that will be what? 17. Okay? In this case, we are going to count backward until we get to what? To the subtract end. So here we say we start from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and what? 17. Okay, so we now count. Now let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You see, our answer is also what? 11. So we can do it using the successor. I can also do it what? Using the predecessor. So we also arrive at the same thing. Okay? So now for you to handle some numbers here, we can use this one, especially if you are handling kids and you want them to enjoy the simple operation of subtraction. So we can do this. Okay, let's look at another example. Let's look at another example. As if we have here, we have this is example 1. As if we have example 2. Example 2, we have 23 minus 9. 23 minus 9. So let's look at this. So we're going to start with the successor. So first thing they ask us to do is to identify our what? Our subtract end. Then we'll look for the successor of the subtract end. So our subtract end is 9 and the successor here is what? 10. So we're going to count from 10 till we get to what? To this. So we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So we stop. So immediately you get the successor of this one, you count and you stop at the mined. So you now count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So here we put our answer here as what? 14. So in this case, the issue of borrowing is totally eliminated. So anyway, this one can usually work if the number are so close. If the number are so what? They are so close. So that's one of the way you can handle kicks. Then assuming you want to start from the mined. So if we're starting from the mined, this is our mined. Our mined is 23. Then the successor of the predecessor, in this case you look at the predecessor of the mined, is 22. So here, what you need to pick, you just come here and pick 9. As your starting point, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You stop. Let's count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Which is the same thing as what we have obtained here. So these are some of the tricks that we can use, to handle a subtraction of number without borrowing. Without what? Borrowing. Okay. Now, like I said, this one can be very easy for kids. though if the numbers are close. If the numbers are close, assuming if we're having a number that is so large, for instance, if we're having, let's say, another example 3, if we're having, let's say, 992 minus 28. Okay, that one's too far. Let's say 42 minus 28. You know, it's a little bit quite far from each other. In this case, what you usually do is your interest, you center your interest on your what? On your subtract hand. Your interest will be on what? On your subtract hand. So in this case, you know, each time we borrow like that, we borrow tens, right? So because we're under tens, we borrow tens. So let's borrow 1 tens and add to this subtract hand. 28 plus 10. That will give us 38. It's not up to this one. See far. Okay. You see, it's close now. It's very close. Okay. Since it's very close, this is 42 and what? And 38. They are very close. What we need to do, we look at the successor of this. The successor of what? Of 38, which is now what? 39. So we count from here. We say 39, 40, 41, and what? 42. Okay. But since we are not up to, we are not up to what? We are not up to 42. That's why we are counting for. So our answer will be plus. Let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many tens do we add here? We add 1 tens. So we write this 1 tens here. We say 10 plus 4, and our answer will become what? 14. Our answer will become what? 14. Okay. So here now our answer will be what? 14. Though normally, let's look at it. Normally, if we want to do our normal subtraction, 28, then you will borrow 1 from here. Here will be 3. We say this 12 minus 8 is 4. 3 minus 2 is what? 1. Is it the same? Okay. So now that is one way we can do it. So we especially the number are far a bit, you add the number of tens. How many tens are we going to add to it before it will be very close to or more than? So if it is more than, we're going to subtract, but if it is not up to the subtract end, we need to count there and add the number to the number of tens that we have already done. Now let's look at another example. Example 4, we have 67 minus 29. Okay, minus what? 29. So what we need to do, these ones, they are far anyway. So now we bring our subtract end here, which is 29. We add 1 tens to it, which will give us 39. It's not very close to this one, 67. So we add another tens to it. Okay, that will give us what? 49. Oh, we should see far. How many tens have we add now? 1, 2. Okay, let's add another tens. That will give us what? 59. Which is very close. Okay, we can see add another 10. Add another 10 to it. All these are addition. This is 3 tens. This is the 4th one. This will give us what? 69. Okay, now it has exceeded this one. Our new subtract end now has exceeded our what? Our minute. So anytime the new subtract ends exceed our minute, what you need to do, we're going to subtract. You say this from this. So it become this from this. That means 9 from 69 from 67. That will give us what? 2. So because now we look, how many tens do we add here? 1, 2, 3, 4. that means it's 40. That is 4 tenths, 40. Minus, because it exceeded, this, we say minus. So here we put minus 2 here. And our answer will come out. Now, take 40, take away 2. 40 take away 2. You borrow 1 from here, here become 3. And that one here is 10. 2 minus 0 is 0. Then you put the 2 here. 10 take away 2 is what? 8. And here will give us what? 3 give us 38. Okay? Now, if you look at our answer here will become what? 38. 38. So if you want us to do it, let's borrow 1 from here. This is 5. 17 take away 9 is 8. 5 take away 2 is what? 3. You see that we are very correct. So this is now our answer. So that means if you want to borrow without if you want to do subtraction without borrowing, so these are some of the steps that you can handle. You can use them. They are very efficient and they are error free. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel so that if more of this video comes up, you can have access to them. Thank you very much and have a nice time.